I came home yesterday and I saw a mouse run across the floor in the kitchen. I've dealt with mice before, so I went to the store and bought some cheese and some traps. I came back home and set them up, and then went out to meet a friend for coffee.
Yeah, but bull.
When I came back, the traps were sprung and the cheese was gone, but there was no mouse. It was evident that I was dealing with a real pro. I was curious to know what the mouse was up to, so that night I set up the traps again and set up my video camera. Then I went out to meet some friends. When I came back, this is what I saw. I realized that this mouse was going to be a hard one to catch. The next time, I didn't set the trap. I only put cheese in it. I figured I'd lull him into a false sense of security, and eventually he would get sloppy and make a mistake. I remember once when I was a kid, when a mouse somehow fell into one of our empty trash cans. It couldn't jump high enough to get out, and it was trapped. We really didn't know what to do with him. My little brother and I ended up building him a little house out of cardboard and wax paper. We put it under some bushes in a field, and then we poured the mouse out of the trash can right in front of it. We thought he ran in. We went back there every once in a while to see if he still lived there, but he didn't. I guess he never moved in. After I watched this tape a couple of times, I couldn't help but notice the little twinkle in his eye. That's when I decided I was going to catch him alive. The question was, how? I went for a bike ride and tried to think up some ingenious contraption to catch the mouse with, but I could only come up with one. I started out with the most rudimentary of traps, the old box and stick. Let's watch that again, in slow motion. I learned something from the box and stick trap. This mouse could fly. While I was designing a more sophisticated trap, I decided I'd have a little fun with him. That's right. The mouse in a maze intelligence test. He passed with flying colors. The next day, I found something disturbing in the front lawn. I was devastated. I felt betrayed. If that mouse was who I thought he was, all my plans had been foiled. I realized that outside the comforts of my kitchen, it was a real jungle out there. I set up a trap that night, but it was left untouched. I feared for the worst. I figured it was over. Then, the following day, I saw mouse poop on top of the stove. I was never so happy to see mouse poop in all my life. That night, I put an unloaded trap on top of the stove and then went out to meet some friends. I was back in business. It was time to make the mouse start reaching out into uncompromising positions. I knew I could only catch him if he made himself vulnerable. I needed to see just how far he would reach. I was looking through a book on medieval history when I came up with an idea. I would try to recreate the mouse falling into an empty trash can routine. Let's watch that again. In slow motion. Unfortunately, he didn't fall in. watch in the lower left-hand corner. I drew out some simple sketches and came up with a design for a see-through trap that was triggered by a piece of cheese tied to a sliding trap door with some fishing line. I built it out of wood and plexiglass and set it up, and then I went out to meet some friends. When I came back, this is what I saw. Mission accomplished. The next day, I went up into the hills and let him go. At first, he didn't want to come out. I hope a hawk didn't get him.